So this folder, attendance and URL. So let's see how that works. We are getting an error now. There is pointing an error, but due to Django's caching, we are seeing this file, this page, because it has already been cached by Django. If you observe now, there is no title. Before there was a title, now there is no title, but this is just a cache. So now let us accept our URL and display this. This is what we want to display. This is our home stuff. So to fix that, I will copy this code. Just follow up. I will explain as I go. So now from Django.url, remember in our first year, when in this other file where I redirected all the URL, I also included this part from Django.url. I said if you want to create a route in Django, this is what you use. So now I am accepting this part. I don't need to include because I'm not going to include anything. I just need the part. So I am creating a new part here, which is also empty, because I did not specify where I want this route to go to. I just said an empty route. This will display in our default localhost server, which is port 8000 on our localhost, which is where we are currently. So now this is showing you an error which we expected. So once we go to this default stuff here, this empty URL, once we go to our website, we want to show a view. What is a view? This is a view. This is a view. This page we are saying is a view. So we want, whenever we come to this website and we did not include where we want to go, we just want to go to the default URL, it should take us to this view. Alright, so now I am including these views. Now what is this view? This view is simply this file, this view.py that you are seeing here, view.py. It is currently empty. So I am importing it to our URLs.py so I can be able to display our templates. So now let us go to our views and create our first view. So we have successfully created our part, which is our default part, which will take us to our index. Then also there is another part here, attendance. So you can see here I specified where I want to go to, which is this part here. So if I should go to here now, you can see now I am at attendance, our server localhost / attendance, because I specified on my route that this is where I want to go. Whenever I go to attendance, whenever I hit this route, include this stuff for me. These views, include this view for me. But when I don't specify where I want to go to, take me to the default index. So let's go back to our project. So to create a view in our attendance / views.py, attendance views.py, we are going to create a function. A Django view is simply a Python function that accepts the request. So if you go to a website, you are sending a request to their server. The server will process the request, determining on the route, on where you want to go. It will process the request and take you there. So now, it is accepting the request. In this request, this is an object. It will check for the request URL. Currently, it is the home directory. So it will return render index or HTML. Don't worry, we'll go through all of this. So now let's just copy this for our and paste it in our Django views or QI. So we should fix all these issues caused by annotation. So this is a Python view. A Python view is simply a function. It is simply a function that will accept the request and take us to wherever we want to go. If we want to execute any logic, we will also do that here too. So for now, we are just showing HTML. That is just what we want to do for now. So what is render? Remember again, I said Django is a framework. So render is simply a function that was built in. We don't have to do it ourselves. We already have access to it. So we should import it from Django. So I have imported it here. Now I am saying whenever the user hits this URL, which is the default, it should include this views.index. And what is view.index? This is view.index. Views folder, so views file, then the index function. So the index function is taking in a parameter. It is taking a single parameter, which is the request. And we are using the request to process our view. So return render. Render means display this on the screen, on your PC, on the screen. Display this for them. This is what render will do for you. So render index.html. This request here, remember I said request is an object. There are a lot of things inside there that this render function needs. So we are sending it along to our file. So now it will look for this index.html. Now that we have done this, let's go back and run our code. Let's see. It is still showing this because of caching. So by the time we create our index.html, we will see whatever we are doing. Now we are getting an error here, indentation fixed. So the next step here is, after you have created your views, we should create a template, because now we are saying we want to display index.html, but where is the index.html? We've not made it. We've not created it, so let's fix that now. So create templates for the view. So for this view, we will create the template. What is a template? A template is just your normal HTML. So in attendance, create a directory. Create a directory or folder. Directory also means folder. Create a folder named templates. It must be named templates because Django is smart. It is smart enough, and it is looking for. Just Django already knows that you should store your files, your views, your index, your HTML. They should be stored in a folder named templates. Django expects you to do that, so you should do it. So in our attendance folder, we should create a folder named templates. Alright, so go to our attendance folder, which is this. Create another folder. Inside this folder, create another folder named templates. Templates. So this is it. Templates. It is empty, there's nothing inside. So create templates. So inside this folder, we are going to create two HTML templates, which is also known as files. So we'll create more than index.html. Remember here we are displaying index.html. So this is where we are going to create our index.html inside our Django templates. So let's fix that now. If I'm too fast, you all should let me know so I'll slow down. Okay. You are lost. Yes,
from that attendance like that's the great attendance that part.
We did not create attendance folder. We created it from this project. Once you create your
Okay, but also computer because even by opening the
that I said, just follow up there. You will, let's go back now. Let's go back to where you get already. Let's go back to we created this Django project. We ran the server, then we created the app attendance. This command was what created this attendance folder that we are working on. I did not create all the files there myself. Once you do this, it will create those stuff for you. So now we will add attendance to our installed apps in settings.py. So in settings.py, yeah, settings of this is we have this. I'm going to run over again from the beginning for those of us just starting us, just joining us. So we installed Django. We created our Django project. We created our Django project named DTL for app. Then we moved into our Django project with CD. Then we started our server. See, you don't need to understand all this. Just follow up. At the end of everything, when everything starts to make sense, everything will come to you that, oh, so this is what we are working on. So we ran our server, then we created our app. This is our Django app. Then we added our Django app to our project, so it will know where to look for our stuff. Then next, we have to create our URL. After creating our URL, we create our views. After creating the views, we have to create the template for the views. The template is your HTML code. What you are going to display. This is the template. Alright, so this is what we are going to display. So this is what we are going to create now. So to do this, we should create a folder named templates inside our attendance directory. So inside our attendance directory, create a folder named templates. This is templates. Alright, so if your VSO is not looking like my own, don't worry. So customization we're done. So templates, now it is empty. So we have to create two files, create two HTML templates. The first one is index.html. The second one is attendance.html. These two files are what are displaying here. So this is the index and this is the attendance. Alright, so this is these two files that we are going to create. Index will display this for us, and the attendance will display this for us. So go to your template folder that you just created your index, and create another one called attendance.html. So once we have done that, we need to let Django, right? Let Django know where to find your templates. So you can see that Django is still viewing our template from this one that does not exist again. Even though we have instructed Django to look into even though we have created our HTML, our template, Django is still looking into this file, which does not exist again for us. So we need to let Django know where to find your template files by adding the path in the template list in the settings.py. So let us move to settings.py. So settings.py. Settings.py is inside our project. Remember, this is our project management. This manage.py, our database, and our main project. So go into this place, settings.py, scroll down, look for templates. So this is templates. So now we are going to let Django know that this is where we are storing our files, our views, our HTMLs. So to do that, this directory / in attendance templates. Alright, so in attendance templates / templates. So this is where Django would want to look for our files in attendance templates. So it will now look for whichever file we specify here, whichever file we ask it to show us. It will go to attendance, go to templates, and look for it here. So let's test this out. So let us just show a dummy test. So so something is still not okay, so let us fix it. There's an issue somewhere. So in settings, remember, let Django know where to find your template. Django can still not find our templates. That is why it is still showing this. It is not seeing our templates. So go to settings. Templates. So follow me. Django already knows where our Django already.
Sorry, the
We'll be up in like 2 minutes or 1 minute.
So, for those that sound very complex, we try our best in subsequent meetings in the community
to simplify this process, to simplify it. So I know some haven't written hello world in Python before, so we'll use the PyData, PyClub, DELSU, and also PyLinguist. We use those codes to teach Python programs from the basis. So please do well by keeping in touch. Do well by keeping in touch, and everything is understood. Very well. Python is very easy. It's easy. Otherwise, yes, no, it's Python is easy.
Everything is not making sense now, but once our app starts to show our view, it will all make sense to you.
Python is easy. I continue.
We stopped at when we were displaying our HTML, where we created we stopped here. So we created two files, index and attendance, and we are going to let Django know where to find our template by adding the part in the template list in the settings.py. So attendance. So come down here. In templates, we'll let Django know that this is where our template is. It is stored in templates. Now, where is template? Template is inside attendance. Here. Alright, so Django already know where to look for our templates. We just need to let them know that template is the name of the folder. You can rename this folder to something else, and Django will look for it. So the next phase is we are going to create our model. Alright, so before that, I went ahead and I created this page that you are seeing. I created this beautiful view. So let me show you code. So in Django templates, index.html, so these are the codes. Alright, so from beginning, these are the HTML. Remember I told you your view will render an HTML. This is how it is. We created the routes. Then we came back and we created the views. We said once we go to the index, which is this empty part, take us to the index.html. So index.html this is index.html. So these are the code that are displaying this view. Alright, so this is a simple HTML that I'll walk you through now. So my style tag for the CSS. Then in the section you can see this A, which is href. This is what works for this. Then our form. This is our form. This is our form. Alright, so inside our form, we created 4 inputs. 1, 2, 3, 4, and a button to submit. This is the button. You can see submit, submit. These are the inputs. So the first one is name with a placeholder for full name, the department, and the placeholder for department. Your number and so your level and your contact, right? So full name, department level, and contact. So the next, after creating our index, alright, after creating our files, which are this index and the attendance that we created in our template, and I just went ahead and created this stuff. Remember, I said all this code will be shared to you, so you have access to all this. So if I were to code this up right now, it will take our time. So the next phase will be to create our attendance. So once we fill this form and press submit, this should save up somewhere. It should save up in our database. Then we are going to be able to display it and view everything just the way this one here is displaying. So if we should add something else now, it will not work, it will not show, because we've not made this other page. This is just a dummy data that I did there, so you will see example of what we are going to do. So now your database is where we are going to store all this. So when you fill all these details, they are going to save in the database, and you are going to retrieve and show it in the next page. Since Django is a framework, they make use of what we call a model. A model is like a representative of your database. Alright, so in attendance / models.py, this file is already there. Attendance / models.py, this is model.py. Alright, so remember we had four inputs. So we are going to create 4 fields on our database: the name, the department, the level, and your contact details. So this is straightforward. Alright, so from Django.db, whenever you see from Django import stuff, we are trying to say, yo Django, give us this function that you already prepared for us, give to us, we need it now. So I just took this function for Django, and I'm going to use it to create my database. We can do this manually, but because we are using Django, they made it easier for us. So we'll create a class called attendance. Your database will be attendance, but a single column, a single model, which is a single representative of your database, will be the singular version for it, which is attendance instead of attendance. So class attendance, this model that I imported, model.model, you don't need to worry about this. This is just how it is. I am letting Django know that I want to make use of this your function inside my own class. So the name, create a name column for me, create a department column, create a level column, and a contact column. This will be created virtually for us on our database. So model.char field, character field, because we want to store text. That's why we are using char field, and we are assigning a maximum length of 200. So same thing for the department. Models.character field, we want to store strings too. Strings is text, so maximum length will be 200, which is we cannot store more than 200 strings inside. So if your name is more than 200, you are on your own, because we are only accepting 200 characters. So for the level, we just need integer, because it is 100, 200, 300. So we use integer field. There is no need for us to pass the parameter here. And contact, which is your means of contact. This is a character field too. Alright, so behind the scene, Django is going to add another column here for us to be called ID. By default, it is an incrementing column in your database that will map each user to an ID. So if I should register first, I will be user 1, you will be user 2, user 3, 4, 5, and on. So Django does that already for us. There's no need for us to add that. So after defining what you want your model, what you want to create in your database, the next thing will be for us to run this script. I'm going to tell Django, hey Django, this stuff that we wrote there, this stuff, so we want you to run it for us, make the migration, like this stuff, run it for us, alright, and create this. Right now, this is just code. It has not been created in our database. So we are going to run a command called manage or py make migration. It will make the migration. Migration is the process whereby Django will take this code and use it to create the physical database. Right? Let me show you an example of what Django will do when we run this command. So just so you know what we are working on, not just code and code. So once we run this code, so visually this is what is happening here. Instead of us to come here now, click on this database, then click on how many columns we want. 4 columns. Database name will be so instead of us to come to this place and try and fix all this, so now you can see you can put the name here. You can put name here will be your department and so on. Then here varchar is the same thing as character field. So here will be int, which is integer field. Here, so now you can see models or character field dot integer field. So this is the visual representation of what this code is doing. So it is just coming to this dashboard, setting the length 200, which we set here as 200. So, and the minute we click on save, it will create something like this for us. So it will create this structure, this database. You can see now I have 2 columns here, ID and names. But right now we are creating 4 columns. So instead of us to come here and do this, we are doing it from here. Right now, this file has not been, this code has not been executed. So we have not made this. But the minute we run the migration, Django will take all this code, use it to do whatever we ask it to do. So what I just did here just now, Django will do exactly, and we can visually see everything if we want to. So let's go ahead and run the migration. So manage.py make. So if you type this command manage.py make migration, so if you should run this command manage.py make migration, it will go ahead, take this code and use to create our database fields for us. So if I should run this now, which I already have done, so the next thing now, we have created our database now. So we can go in now and start creating fields. So if I should open our app, if I should come in now and start creating users and start registering all of us, it will be storing in the database. Then in the next phase, we are going to retrieve everything that we have stored and show it to the users. I think I dropped my We have a small issue here, but we'll fix it soon. My server was shut down. Just give me 1 minute, let me start it up again. So now, that we have created our models, let's walk through again. So we created the URL, we created the views, we created the templates, we created our models. So now we can save this to our database, but it is remaining just one thing. On our index here, once we click on, this is a form. So once we click on submit, it will send a request to our server, which will save all this data for us in our database. So we are letting Django know that once we click on submit, go to this URL, save attendant. So if we should go to our URL now, we are going to see another part, save attendant, because we want once we click on this button, it should go to this URL. Then this URL will call the view. In the view, save attendant. So where's the view? This is the view. Save attendant now. It is just another function. So I am accepting the request, and I am checking if the request method is equal to post. Because in our index here, I specify that I am sending a post request. There are different types of requests, but for this project we are using post. So if the request is equals to post, if it is equals to post request, I want you to save this to the database for me. So attendant, remember attendant was our model attendant. So now we are asking our view here to create a name, department, level, and contact with whatever the user enters here. So whatever you type here, Django will receive it inside this request. So now I am accessing it from the request. So I said the name is equals to the request post name. So because I use post method, I'm going to access it from the post list. So the name is equals to request.post name. The department will be the same thing, and the level and contact. Alright. So now, if I should fill this now and submit now, this will store in our database. This has been saved in our database. Because of this data was saved, I stored this stuff inside an object, and I saved the object, and I redirected the user back to this same page that they are on, back to this home page. Alright, so above here you will see I am importing a redirect function from Django. So if I don't use this redirect, there will be an error. Let's see the error. So you can see the error because I am not sending the user, I am not returning an HTTP response. So now that I'm returning the redirect, which is returning an HTTP response, this error will no longer show. So fill up, send. I am saving this stuff. Whatever you type, I am saving it, and I am taking you back to the page where you are. So now let us view our attendance. So we are going to go to our view. In our view here, whenever we go to the attendance URL, in the URL here you can see that I have this attendance part. Whenever I go here, I want the view to show me this attendance HTML stuff. I want the view to show me the template for the attendance. So back to our view, attendance. So this will take in the request. So I just don't want to show you an empty user. I am selecting the list. This is a variable. I created a variable attendance list, and I am storing all the attendance inside this variable. So you can see attendance, which is our model. Our model is the visual representative of our database. So attendance.object.all. This will get all the records from our database, and I am sorting it with the ID column. So it will display by the last person instead of from the first person. It's going to display the latest user. Alright, so this is straightforward. Attendance.object from our database. Take this as this is saying from our database, give me all the users, all the attendants, and order them, sort them in descending order. This is what this code is doing. So now I'm going to return the attendance.html that we created here. Where is attendance.html? So this is the code to do that. Return the request along with the attendance.html. And now it is doing just that. It is doing that fine. But in our HTML here, in our attendance, why are we not seeing all the users? Because we are not outputting all the users. You can see this is dummy data that I just created here fix. So I'm going to delete this and use Django's templating engine to look through everything. I will look through all the users and I will display all the users. So let's fix this now. So if I should come here now and I should refresh, let me just go back and register. Test department 400. So my telephone empty, and I'm going to save it now to my database. Submit. So it went ahead and it saved everything, took me back to my page where I was. So now if I should go back to that page, there's an error. Forget to list our going to start. So now let me go back to my attendance. Okay. So now you can see that all the users now they are displaying. I am fetching the users. I am fetching the users from my database. fetch all the users, order them by the most recent one. So you see test anything that I just made just now, you can see it here, it is at the top. And once I created first, they are at the bottom. So how did we accomplish this? How did we display all the users? I looked through it. Remember, in our view, we requested for all the users. So it will give us an object. And I passed all the objects, which is this attendance. I passed it to this render function. This render is going to make me able to use this object inside my HTML. So right now, inside my attendance, I have access to all the users, all the attendants. So in Django, this is how we are going to look through. I said for attendants in attendance. This literally means inside the object that contains all the attendants, give me the first one. For the first attendants, put their ID, put their name, put their department, their level, their contact, close. Give me the second attendant, do the same thing. Give me the other attendant. So if I have 1,000 attendants, it's going to run this code for 1,000 attendants. Alright, so I said for attendant in attendance, create this HTML row, this table row, then end the for loop. So practically, this is it. We just created our first Django project that interacted with a database. This is an example of a full stack project because we made UI, not just UI, we also made connection to your database. You created fields, records, and you are retrieving it from your database. So again, let us run through everything that we did. We created our Django project with this command. With this command, we created our Django project. It all started from this command. Then we move on to the next command, which was to go inside our folder. So then we start our server. Then we made our app, which is attendance, which is this attendance. So inside attendance, that was where everything else happened. So we added attendance to our installed app. That was how Django knew where to look for our attendance app. Then we created theory URLs or routes here, which is the default URL. Then we want to display all the users, and we want to save all the users. So after we created the URLs, we created the views. The views is what will take our URL and show us the templates. So after creating the views, we created our template, which was index.html and attendance.html. So this is the views. The views is like, remember, just if you were in the conference yesterday, they mentioned that Python makes use of the MVT model view template. So your model is your database, your view is your logic. So if you go to any website made with Django, from your URL, it will take you to your views. So depending on where you want to go. So if in your URL it is /users or /home, it will take you there, then take you to your views. Your views will run your logic for you, then show you your template, which is the T in MVT, model view template. So this is the view now. I am saying if the users should come to this route, show them this template. If they should come to this one, show them this template along with all the users. So the next thing I did was to create our model, create our database, where we stored all the users. After creating the database, we created another function which stored our users in the database. This is the function here. This is it. It is just another. A Django view is just a function, a regular Python function that does logic and return views. After that, we applied our migration. We created our database tables and columns. Then that was it. So that is all you need to do to create your first full stack Django project, which will enable you to register.
Did any of you try it with your name to see that it actually goes in? The only difference between this and the online app, Facebook, wherever you make it up, is just the hosting online. So this is a local host. If you should push it online, you see it is work exactly the same as your other websites that are online. So
all the code will be available to you on the so, any question? Questions?
Let's clap for that. Let's
if we are living our 80s, trust that. For you to get the right answers, you need to so, when you get this tools,
so I guess the attendance are right? Everyone has picked their attendance. I just want to specify your okay. So we'll get back to
somebody want to join
signing groups. You might dream that we all use Python, where it's for different applications. We have data science, that was a data science. Annually we do run 1 week free workshop under data science and also 2 days free workshop under Django Guest. So that was for Django Guest. You see, that was the one banner for DSA Africa Project. So thank you very much. We are very grateful for your presence. Please just go out and take group photo together. The group photo for each of the groups, then call it a day. Thank you, please let's go out.